so-called completed, because I don't think these guys are going to do anything, even if the evidence is overwhelming.
I think it's entirely possible that.
Thanks, Amos.
There's two elements of this, and I think the Southern District of New York aspect is the most crucial to this, because there's nothing Trump can do in the pardoning of those financial crimes.
Yeah, it's those state crimes that are going to be key to all of this.
Essentially, this is their way of RICOing their way up the Trump ladder, because and that's why that whole story about.
That one judge who went bonkers on it, saying you're just holding his feet to the fire to try to get up higher.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and we now have, it looks like Preet Bharara might actually run as an independent in New York State for AG. Yeah, which I'm 100% for. Yeah. Let's just say, but yeah. So there's two. Right now, apparently there was some story, and we'll have to look it up, but apparently there's a dead man switch on the Mueller investigation.
Yeah, I heard about that on Chris Hayes.
Yeah, that effectively if Trump interferes with it and shuts it down, tries to do a Friday night massacre, a Saturday night massacre, I think it will be a Friday night after because Jared and Ivanka will be out of the White House, and he tends to go nuts during that window where they have to observe the Sabbath. So he's left completely alone on his golden throne, tweeting as he releases the day's burgers. But horrifying, I know. But yeah, I do believe that what they're doing is setting up the Mueller investigation and linking with the Southern District of New York. And understand, they haven't just broken the law in New York State. It just happens to be that the real estate division there, New York has been operating on a house of cards legally in the international and national mortgage, and financial issues around, not just around corporations that operate out of there, and what goes on in general with just the Dow, and people fake lifting stocks and then doing puts on their own companies. That's a big aspect of it. But the real estate market in New York is completely built on what the Chinese would call feng pi, which is directly translated is wind from your butt. It's it smells like there's something there, but there isn't. Is the idea that there's no substance, but it stinks. And the mortgage world there is so dirty, but they understand that if they pull the thread too hard, it will wreck everything. Right. This is the benefit that the most criminal people had after the 2008 crash. And I think what Obama understood, or was made to understand, was that if you go after all the bad actors and you do make them do perp walks and you do this, the blast zone involves a lot of innocent people. As far as who has their mortgage. Because all these people who bought homes in these buildings that are leveraged through crappy Russian money and all this kind of stuff, if that building gets seized, the ability for those people to get their money back or to make their living in that place, to have their real estate suddenly mean nothing on a massive scale would bring a wrecking ball to a lot of New York, the New York financial sector, which has a ripple effect on the rest of the country. And so everybody's been tiptoeing around the criminality around it in much the same way that Chicago for years has dealt with the fact that, there was always these mob bosses and stuff that were dealing, in different industries. And if they went after them too hard, too quick, if they hadn't overstepped their bounds and they could literally go, okay, well, this guy somebody, so let's go snatch them up. If they went after them too hard, all the legitimate businesses that they had gotten their fingers into would fall apart as well. And the question always becomes, do you sacrifice those legit businesses to get this guy? And that's the balance that's always happened. In 2008, there was definitely that decision was being made. You were this whole. Thank you for Matt actually holding up a sign telling us we have 1 minute left. I feel so. It's
Did
like
you just make that sign?
No, he's got all these. It's a professional radio show. I'm so impressed. But that literally is.
Why don't you ransom note?
Why don't you go after? Right, you've got 1 minute to comply. So it feels like Saw. I better start sawing my hand off. We got a minute left. All right, we got to take a break though. We'll be back right after this with more of the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. And we've got other people who are coming up to ask questions.
Yeah, come back up after.
Yeah, we're at Andersonville Brewing Company. Come on down.
Chicago.
Oh, and I can't believe we're not up on the air, but it's so. There's something. somebody going through there. I'm seeing something. We got some throughput.
Did you know you can listen to WCPT's stream via their website, TuneIn Radio, iTunes, and Windows Media? Click the Listen Live tab at WCPT820.com.
Korea Summit, Texas shooting lawsuit. I'm Ann Cates. The leaders of the Koreas had a surprise meeting today ahead of next month's possible summit with the U.S. Correspondent Will Ripley says Seoul has a lot at stake.
President Moon Jae-in of South Korea has served as the intermediary this whole time, ever since reviving talks earlier this year, using the Olympics as a springboard for diplomacy. And he has kept the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un engaged, and importantly, he has also kept President Trump engaged as well, giving him a lot of credit for creating the conditions to bring about this renewed dialogue.
The family of one of the students killed in the Santa Fe, Texas
massacre
is suing the
this is the long news break.
Demetrius Papoutchis is charged with capital murder for the shooting
here?
that left 8 students and 2 teachers dead.
Yeah.
Investigators say Pagorchis used a shotgun.
We'll get to the guy who had his question when we come back.
Stone and
after we come back, and so
Stone was killed.
So top of the hour, we'll lead off with some more. You guys, if you want to say something,
properly secure their weapons and allow their son to access ammunition.
Don't forget to tweet out that we're here. I suppose if you do that kind of thing,
to children
your social media-ing.
Though it does have exceptions. The alleged shooter is 17. I'm Clayton Neville.
Subtropical storm Alberto is bearing down on the Gulf Coast. Meteorologist Allison Chinchar says the region needs to be prepared.
Right now, tropical storm watches are in effect from Florida, stretching over towards Louisiana. We talked about rain being the main factor here, but storm surge is also going to be a concern. Some of those showers and thunderstorms will begin as early as today across areas of the Gulf Coast region. But because this storm is going to be moving rather slow off to the north, you're looking at days of rain across the southeast.
States of emergency have been declared in Mississippi and Florida ahead of the first named storm of the 2018 hurricane season, which doesn't officially begin until June 1st. I'm Ann Cates.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, 92.5 WCPT FM DeKalb, and online at WCPT820.com.
It's easy to fall into their languaging, and by there I mean the Trump cabal. We stopped hearing the words alternative facts, still doing it like their version of the truth. Yes. Statements like that really bug me because there are facts and then there are beliefs and guesses and hypotheses.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Politics, Law, and Civics with Norman Goldman.
2018 has been deadlier for school children than U.S. service members. If that's not a pathetic statement, hey, who's the Christians around here? So in Donald Trump's America, guns are wonderful, I'm going to protect your Second Amendment, thoughts and prayers, you're the unlucky victim or somebody who cares about, well, no, geez, that's just the way it goes.
The Norman Goldman Show, weeknights at 5 on WCPT 820.
Looking to refinance your existing home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Bill's family was cruising until he loaded $50,000 on his credit cards to cover expenses after his income was cut in half. Stressed out and living paycheck to paycheck, Bill called Team Hochberg for a free consultation. We consolidated Bill's credit cards into a 30-year fixed loan, credited all his closing costs, and reduced his payments over $1,400 a month. Bill was stressed out before calling and saved over $16,000 a year after calling Team Hochberg. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck like Bill and would like to see if refinancing can lower your monthly payment, give Team Hochberg a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit WCPTDavid.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of WCPT listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit WCPTDavid.com. Pearl Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Lights T4358, and I'm less 19186.
Hey Chicago, Stephanie Miller here. I want you to check out the best Toyota dealer in Chicago, Midtown Toyota. They have a unique view of the car business because it's on you. Midtown Toyota is a family-owned community auto dealer where everyone is welcome. Stop in, see for yourself. Their goal is to help you select a vehicle that meets your needs and your budget. Buying a car shouldn't be a hassle, right? And the great people at Midtown Toyota work hard to make it easy and painless. In fact, at MidtownToyota.com, you can get a 20-second price quote, a firm rock-bottom quote on the car you want with no gimmicks and no bait and switch. And if Spanish or Polish is your first language, everyone on staff at Midtown Toyota is bilingual. Toyotas are great vehicles, but see for yourself. Stop in and drive one. No obligation, absolutely no pressure. Midtown Toyota is on Cicero, north of Fullerton, just south of Diversey in Chicago. MidtownToyota.com. Midtown Toyota, check them out and tell them Stephanie Miller says hello. That's Midtown Toyota.
Make your home an ADT home and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. Get our lowest rate for fast response monitoring, starting at just $28.99 a month. That's about $1 a day from the most trusted name in home security. Get ADT's tested, trusted, and proven security and service, now at a great value. Don't wait. Call today. ADT. Always there. Now everywhere. Requires 36-month monitoring contract. Early termination, taxes, and install fees apply. Certain markets excluded. See terms and pricing at ADT.com.
Next. You're holding up the line, ma'am.
What did you say?
You're next in line for the water slide, ma'am. Feet forward and enjoy the ride.
Okay, dearie. This does look fun. Whee-oh! You melted me. I melted.
The Wicked Witch of the West on a water slide? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
See what you've done. Oh!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Isn't this with real advertisers and everything?
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out at me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Plus faithful pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Time for you guys to give up.
Welcome back to the show. We are live at the Andersonville Brewing Company. It warms the heart just to see everybody here.
It's unreal.
It's wonderful, yeah, and it's so good to see you in person because we do this. We do this a lot, remotely from far away. I always feel like isolated in my little room away from everybody.
And there's just the slightest delay, which makes my quips sound really dumb.
Oh, that's why.
That's what I'm leaning on.
That's right. It's good.
Yeah.
That would have been so much funnier. But for those milliseconds.
If only.
Oh, it's so good. So we have another question statement edition.
Yeah. Sven Mon here.
Hey.
Yeah, drinking a revolution for the revolution.
Sure.
Revolution.
All right, there you go.
I've been doing a lot of protests last 2 years, year and a half anyways, and I'm getting pumped up for what's coming up. Anyways, I want to give you props, kudos. You've given, my buddy and I have listened through you all winter, a lot of hope and inspiration.
Thank you.
You're brilliant.
Thank you.
You're a brilliant voice.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Maximum respect to you, Mon.
Thank you. And you too, as well. Thanks for.
And my question is, to change the subject here, it's back to North Korea.
Yeah.
What do you think about the latest with him backing out, doing his cowardly retreat on the summit meeting here?
Right.
Do you feel that it is because he, deep down in his evil soul, he wants to really bomb North Korea because Bolton talked to him last.
I think
whoever talks to him last, that whole thing with that,
what he believes.
and that's what's your opinion on that?
Yeah,
Al? Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, brother. I think
I have to say, but until we finally got to the object of that sentence, I was like, he can be talking about either of them right now.
Yes, right. Either leader.
Yeah.
Right. Like which one is nuttier than? Well, I'll tell you what. There's a couple of things. The first one being is Bolton definitely wants that. Bolton definitely wants an attack. Bolton that's the answer to it. Now, Trump, the word on the street is, as far as people who are close to him, is that Trump is only interested in it if it is an overwhelming, over-the-top win, meaning total denuclearization, all that, which is why he's incapable of understanding the Iran deal.
Or compromise in general.
Right, or making or understanding the policies therein.
Right.
So here's the problem with Trump backing out, and this is more of a problem for what Bolton wants than anything else. The Chinese have already moved on. The South Koreans have already moved on. They are already operating as if. So, like I said, I was just in China. The houses and apartment buildings on the Chinese side of the Chinese-North Korean border, the prices of those buildings living there have gone up 400% because they are already assuming that even if the United States tries to impose sanctions again in a tougher way, that trade will already remain open for everything except selling arms, essentially. So the people are already moving into the area as basically turning that into San Diego. They are moving to turn that area into on the border of Mexico and, benefits from doing business. Essentially, people who can't do the business they want in Mexico because it's either unsafe for them to do so, and there's the gang and the cops issue that they have down there. If you want to do a safe business transaction, you just drive into San Diego and do it. Essentially, there's an element that the Chinese are creating a protectorate around that. That if you want to do North Korean business but technically not violate two of the sanctions, all you can do is they allow travel into China over that border, and then all of a sudden you're not violating a sanction, and so you create a false business entity right within the United inside of China, and then you can operate as if. And they're already moving ahead with that. The crucial thing for the South Koreans is that they want like U.S. troops out of there. They've wanted that for quite a long time. They want it only though if it means the North isn't going to try to move on them. So they've been trying to open these concessions. Somebody has talked to Kim, ultimately. It might be Dennis Rodman. It might be Vladimir Putin. But somebody has basically said to them, look how sweet Putin has it. You don't have to be at war with the West all the time. You just have to only be at war up to a certain point. And then you can sit here and make all the monstrous acts you want because they'll just have hands off. Again, the turning down, like where they're like, we're not going to test anymore. Well, you don't have to test once you already have a missile. They blew up their test site. You know why they blew up the test site? Because when they tested the nuke back in November, they caused an earthquake and it wrecked the facility. They can't use it anymore. They had to demolish it. They've had 6 earthquakes since that test in that region. They destabilized the tectonic plate the building was on.
Holy moly.
So they, of course, they demolished it. The press come in and watch it get blown up. Like, what a show. Like, grow up if you actually think that was meaningful. But Trump is like, look what I made him do. But ultimately, he had almost, even his rhetoric had little to do with that because the Chinese and the South Koreans were already, with the Olympics and everything, were already going, okay, enough is enough. And it already started moving. And as Kim started threatening Japan, South Korea has a lot of tech trade with Japan and through Japan. There's a lot of co-businesses that have a lot to do with each other there, not the least of which is Samsung, which has, like corporate headquarters, and they sell a lot of product and back and forth. They didn't want that, him firing the top of